Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another monthly book haul. So I have a little over 50 books to share with you guys, books that I got last month back in September. I got a few ARCs, more special editions, and of course books from publishers and books that I bought for myself. So let's just jump into it. I always like starting with the ARCs. I got 3 of them last month. This first one is a historical romance, and since I am co-hosting historical romance readathon towards the end of October, this might go on my TBR. It's The Reluctant Countess by Eloisa James. It's the second book in her Would-Be Wallflower series. I have not read the first one yet. I really should get on that. It's her newest series and it sounds really good. It's an enemies to lovers romance between a grumpy hero, a grumpy earl, and an improper lady. And there might be a marriage of convenience as well, so all the tropes. I also got the next book in the Dark Olympus series by Katie Robert. This one is Radiant Sin, so this is going to be book 4. It's Apollo's book, Apollo and Cassandra, and there is fake dating here. Apollo asks Cassandra to be his pretend date during this week-long thing going on at Olympus, so she has to go undercover as his date for all the politics and stuff. And there is a step back, like the other books in the series. There's a step back with this gorgeous thing. This one won't even be out until February, so this is actually my first 2023 ARC in my hands. And this last ARC that I got last month is Glitterland by Alexis Hall. I believe this book actually was published before, but then it got picked up by a publisher. It's an romance. It sounds very much like an opposites attract kind of romance. One of the heroes was the golden boy of the English literary scene, and now he's a clinically depressed writer of pulp fiction. I have heard about this book from years ago, but I never actually read it, but it's always exciting to see indie books get picked up by a publisher, and the published version of this is coming out next year as well in January. And then for some books that some indie authors sent me, I was very excited to get this duet because I love the author. It's the Colton and Josie duet, which is also books 3 and 4 in the Life series. So far I've only read book 3. I haven't read the first 2 books, but going into this one was totally fine, and I really need to get to finishing the duet because book 1 was amazing. It's this second chance romance between former high school sweethearts. They grew up together, they were best friends that turned into something more until the hero broke the heroine's heart, and even after a decade later, she's still not over it. What was really cool is that the heroine, Josie, she's a forensic pathologist, and the hero, who is now a single dad, he's a homicide detective, so they do work closely together dealing with victims of crime. And basically this entire first book in the duet is the hero making the heroine fall back in love with him, forgive him, and then there's also a weird paranormal twist at the end that is very unexpected, so I still need all the answers, so I will eventually get to reading book 2, which is Memories of a Life. I also got 2 books from Catherine Cowles, who I am very excited to see at Love in Vegas at the end of the month. She sent me 2 books in her Tattered and Torn series, her small town romantic suspense series. This one is Hidden Waters, and this one is her latest one, Shattered Sea. If you love small town, if you love romantic suspense, I highly recommend the series. The audiobooks are amazing as well. So Hidden Waters is book 3, and it's a roommates to lovers romance, also friends to lovers, and the heroine has a lot of trauma. And Shattered Sea is book 4, and this one is a celebrity romance. The hero, he was in Hollywood, but he kind of ran away to this small town where the series is set to get away from everything. And of course that's where he meets the heroine, but these 2 were great. I adore them, and I mean the covers are gorgeous. Super happy to add these to my Catherine Cowles collection. I also got a fantasy romance by an author that I had never heard of before. It's A Curse of Shadows and Ice by C.A. Mara. The cover is very stunning. I love it. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I am very here for. It has a cursed emperor, a princess who possesses forbidden magic, and a marriage that could save them all. So it sounds great. I mean, I was already sold with the Beauty and the Beast retelling part, and it looks like it might be a standalone too, which is another plus because I don't think I have time to read a whole fantasy romance series right now. And Monica Murphy sent me her latest book, which is Promises We Meant to Keep. It's a standalone, but it is set in the whole Lancaster family world. It's got the brother's best friend trope, it's a second chance romance, but the heroine broke the hero's heart when she ended up marrying someone else instead of him. They reunite years later after her husband has died and her brother is about to get married, so they reunite at his wedding, but the hero still hates her for what she did. And then for some books that some publishers sent me, this cover is absolutely stunning. It's Vanessa Jared's Got a Man by Laquette. I feel like it's the same cover artist as the one who did the Alexis Daria series. It's a romance about an older heroine. She is post 40 and post divorce, and she falls for the sheriff. He shows up because he's trying to make his little sister not marry the heroine's ex-husband. So I guess these two have to work together to stop that from happening. I also got Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake by Maisie Eddings. This is the author's second book. I haven't read her first one. The author is like a bookstagrammer turned author. This is a surprise baby romance. The main characters have this two-night stand and the hero is supposed to go back home to Australia after, but then of course the heroine gets pregnant. I got another contemporary romance with this cute little illustrated cover. It's The Makeup Test by Jenny L. Howe. The author is new. It's a debut book about a heroine who's just gone into her dream PhD program, and then she finds out that her ex-boyfriend has also gone accepted and they're both going to be TAing for the same professor. So it's got second chance romance, rivals to lovers. It sounds really fun. I got the newest Lorraine Heath historical romance. This is The Return of the Duke, which is part of her Once Upon a Dukedom series. I've still only read book 1 so far, but that one was really good. I believe this one is book 3 or 4. Pretty sure it's 3, the third book in the series. And the annoying thing is that I have the first 2 books in the series, but book 2 is that larger mass market max paperback, so that one is going to be the odd one out in this series because publishers aren't going to do that max size anymore, which they really shouldn't have done in the first place because it was so annoying. But this romance has a hero whose family was stripped of everything because of this assassination attempt on the queen, but now he's trying to bring back justice and honor on his family, and he has to get help from a woman that he absolutely hates. So these two are trying to uncover this whole conspiracy going on, and I will eventually get to it after I read book 2. I got the newest Adriana Herrera book, which is On the Hustle. This one is book 2 in her Dating in Dallas series. I just started it and it's great so far. It's a former boss and assistant romance. The hero is a total grumpy hero and the heroine hates working for him, so she does find herself a new job. She moves to Dallas, but then the hero shows up asking her for help. He wants her to do this home improvement reality TV show with him. I love Adriana Herrera. I love her books, although the first book in the series it was only okay, but I'm really glad that I'm liking the second book a lot more. I also got the newest Tijan book, The Revenge. It's the third book in her Insider series and it might be the last. I haven't read the series yet. It's a romantic suspense series. It's a trilogy that follows the same couple, so I have no idea what's happening in this third book. And this one is Witchful Thinking by Celestine Martin. It's a witchy romance, so kind of perfect for October for the spooky season. The heroine accidentally gets cursed, so she can't seem to say no to anything and she's trying to figure out how to uncurse herself. And the hero is her old high school crush who's just moved in across the street from hers. I got another historical romance from Avon. This is How the Wallflower Was Won by Eva Lee. It's part of her Last Chance Scoundrel series, a romance between a rogue and a wallflower, and these two end up in a marriage of convenience. I got the new Sarah Adams book. This is When in Rome. I still need to read her other one. I think it's called The Cheat Sheet. I've heard conflicting feelings about that book, but it does sound cute. And this one is a foodie romance, which I always want to read. It's got a baker hero and a pop star heroine. She shows up in the small town of Rome, and not the Italy Rome, but the Kentucky Rome. And the hero who runs this pie shop, he reluctantly lets her stay in his guest room. So it sounds great if you're in the small town mood. I got another historical romance, but this time with a cute illustrated cover. It's Something in the Air by Suzanne Enoch. It's about a married couple who have been in this marriage of convenience for 8 years. There's a little twist to this one though that sounds really fun. The heroine's grandfather invites them to his birthday celebration and he wants them to bring their 2 kids that they don't have. The heroine apparently made up the fact that she had kids and now these two have to borrow 2 orphans and pass them off as their own. So it sounds pretty freaking cute and I do love the setup of it. I also got a few books from Balloon Books, who have been acquiring a lot of indie romance authors. This one is is Things We Never Got Over by Lacey Score, which I loved. It's one of my favorites this year. It's a grumpy sunshine, small town romance, very slow burn and very thick. It's my first read from Lacey Score. It's still the only one that I've read from her so far. I keep saying that I want to read more from her, and I will eventually. But yeah, this is the new publisher paperback. Another indie author that Bloom Books picked up is Emily McIntyre. They picked up her Never After series, so this one is book 1, Hooked. I just caught up in the series recently because I'm going to be seeing Emily McIntyre in Vegas as well, so I wanted to read some more of her books to see if I needed to buy anything else, but I'm glad to have this one now. So the series is like dark fairy tale retellings, and the main characters are the villains from those stories. Book 1, Hooked, is like a dark Peter Pan retelling. The main character, the hero, is Hook. Book 2 is a Lion King retelling, and book 3 is a Wizard of Oz retelling. I think books 1 and 3 are my favorites so far. The audiobook for Scar just did not work for me, so I feel like I should get book 3, but I don't know if the Bloom edition is out yet, and I don't want to have like the Bloom version and the indie version and not have them match. So I guess I'll have to wait for that, but I am gonna bring this one to the Vegas signing. And I also got this very nice package of the Lauren Asher books that Bloom Books picked up. If you watch my book talk video, you might know that I did not like the first book though. The fine print was not a favorite of mine, but a lot of people have said book 2 is a lot better. Book 2 is Terms and Conditions, so I don't know, maybe I'll try this one. It's just like at the bottom of my TBR right now, but these paperbacks are very pretty. I do like having them. And Bloom Books also sent some very nice swag along with it. There were 2 notepads. This one says From the Desk of Declan Kane for book 2 and From the Desk of Rowan Kane for book 1. And then of course the corresponding pens for them. This is probably one of my favorite kinds of swag to get. Like, I love getting pens, and notepads are just, I use them all the time. And this last book that I got from a publisher is a holiday romance, because it's that time of year where publishers start putting out holiday romances, Christmas romances. So this is Seasons of Love by Helena Greer. It's an FF romance. One of the heroines has just inherited a Jewish-run Christmas tree farm, but unfortunately it's about to go out of business, and now she has to work with the farm's grumpy manager, who of course is the other heroine. The cover is so adorable though. I love it, especially this cute little cat. And then for my special edition books, because of course I got some more last month, I'll start off with some Hello Lovely box books that I got. So this box is the Tijan special edition box. It came with these 2 books. This one is Anti-Stepbrother and the other one is Enemies. So these 2 have these really cute illustrated covers. I don't think I've read either of these. It's been a long time since the last time I read Tijan. The last one might have been Kian, but I do love Hello Lovely box and I always want their special editions. So the box came with this cute little pouch. It says tacos, late nights, secrets, football, forever. And the other side says love, destiny, hope, bravery, strength. These 2 art prints. A little chapstick that says meet me at the quail. And probably my favorite thing, which is this giant plastic tumbler. It says get flocked with Tijan. So that was the Tijan box, but I also did get another special edition book from Hello Lovely box. This is Liar by Fiona Cole, which is from their latest Trope of the Month box. This one was the age gap trope, so of course this one has an age gap. The heroine falls for her uncle's friend. It's part of the Voyeur series, which I have read, and unfortunately this one was my least favorite of the series. I am still very obsessed with this cover. This one is not from a box, it's from Waterstones from the UK. It's the special edition of Wolf Song by TJ Klune. It's the hardcover with the beautiful sprayed edges. If you watched my last video where I talked about my favorite special editions, you might have seen this one already, but just look how beautiful it is. I'm obsessed and I love the book. It's one of my favorite books of all time, so of course I had to get this one and I'm just really excited. I really hope that Waterstones will do the rest of the series like this. But for anyone who hasn't read Wolf Song, it's part of the Green Creek series, which is an paranormal romance series. It's got wolf shifters, it's got magic. It's so good, and book 1 and book 4 are my favorites. Another new favorite special edition of mine that I am so happy to have is this special edition of Mason Jar by Devney Perry. It's got both the birthday list and letters to Molly, so both books in the series, and just look how beautiful. Oh, the bookmark sliding out. But look how beautiful this cover is, and with the red foiling on it. Here's the spine, and the back cover also has a little bit of foiling too. It is so stunning. I've been trying to find a copy of this for myself for a long time, and I'm so happy I was able to find it because the series is also my top favorite series from Devney Perry, at least so far. Both of these books just wrecked me in the best of ways. I also ordered 2 special edition books from the Bookworm box, and they were nice enough to send like an extra paperback to go along with it. This one is Stroke of Midnight by K. Webster. I already have the book though, so I will probably end up giving it away or something. But I do love this series though. It's my favorite from K. Webster. It's like a dark age gap Cinderella retelling. But the books that I actually ordered, I ordered this special edition of Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. This one was actually in their YA box. I'm honestly not sure why, because it's 100% women's fiction, but I guess because it's got 2 storylines and one of them is a daughter's romance, her high school romance, that they put it in the YA box. But I did have to order myself a copy just because it is Colleen Hoover and I do try to collect her stuff. This isn't my favorite of her books, but I did like it. And then the other book that I ordered was The Doctor by Nikki Sloan. I love Nikki Sloan, so I had to get this one. It's an ex-boyfriend's dad romance, so it's forbidden, it's got an age gap, and since it is Nikki Sloan, it's very hot. But my favorite, surprisingly, in the series is the second one, the one with the older heroine, and I would especially love a special edition for that book. I also got a couple special editions from the Bookish box. This one is the reprint of War by Laura Thalassa, because there was something messed up, a chapter missing in the original special edition, and I ordered like the Four Horsemen special edition set. This one is What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. This one is a fantasy romance, and the cover is really pretty. These are the sprayed edges. I love the holographic foiling on it. I might need to read this one soon just because the author is also going to the Vegas signing at the end of the month that I'm going to, and I know if I read this after the signing and end up loving it, I will be very mad at myself that I didn't get to see the author. This is the artwork on the end papers, and here's the other side of the end papers, and this is what the naked hardcover looks like, some more holographic foiling. And this one is Untainted by Lillian T. James. This is another fantasy romance. This is the sprayed edges, and also it's got some pretty artwork on the end pages, and this is what the naked hardcover looks like. And I also finally got my special editions of the Guild Trilogy by Tate James from this Australian book box. It took forever to get here, but I'm so happy that they finally made it. So this one is book 1, which is Honey Trap. The hardcovers are cloth bound, they're naked, so no dust jackets, but they are foiled. This one is book 2, which is Dead Drop, and then book 3 is Kill Order, and it's very thick. And these are the sprayed edges for them. They're so pretty. I love this series, so I'm so glad that I bought them before I even read them. And then for some books that I bought for myself, this is the bind up of the whole Bargainer series by Laura Thalassa. I already own all the books in the series, like all the individual paperbacks, but since the publisher, since Bloom Books did pick up the series, I knew that this omnibus wouldn't be available anymore, and I do love the cover, so I ended up getting it, and the font is so tiny. This thing is over 730 pages. This one I didn't technically buy, but I traded for it. It's the trade paperback of The Legacy by Al Kennedy. I just needed a matching copy for my original abs covers, and it was bothering me so much that I didn't have this, but I finally found a copy for myself, so now I have all 5 books with the abs covers in the trade paperback. I got Inked in Lies by Giana Darling. This is book 5 in her Fallen Men series, and I haven't read it yet. I mean, I read the first 3, but I haven't read this one yet, and I'm also seeing Giana Darling at Love in Vegas, so I wanted to get book signed by her. But this one is an MC romance with an age gap. I of course had to get the new Mariana Zapata book, When Gracie Met the Grump. This one is the newest book from her surprise release. It's a superhero romance, and I did a whole vlog for it. My once a year vlog, basically. It took me a while, but I did end up liking this one. And this one is the new Catherine Moon, The Company of Fiends, which is book 2 in her Tempting Monster series. I loved book 1, A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, so much. So had to get myself the paperback of book 2, and we're also reading this for Ravished by Romance this month just because it's spooky season and it's monster romances, so it's kind of fit. And you all know how much I love the Bonds That Tie series, and if you didn't, now you do. This is a paranormal reverse harem romance series from Bree, and I got 3 paperbacks in the series. I own the first 2 books, so I got the next 3 books, and there are 6 books total. So the final one is coming out at the end of the month, and I am so freaking excited about it. Book 3 is Blood Bonds, and I think this has North on the cover. Book 4 is Forced Bonds, which has Gabe on the cover. Book 5 is Tragic Bonds, and I believe this is Atlas on the cover. It's Atlas or Griffin, but I think it's Atlas. And I also bought some Sierra Simone books because I saw her at the Ripped Bodice for her author event. It was the event for A Merry Little Me Q, which she co-wrote with Julie Murphy. It's their Christmas romance, and I just finished it today, and it was so fun. I loved it. It's like a Hallmarky Christmas romance where the main characters are new leads in this Christmas movie, and the heroine is a porn star, and the hero used to be in this popular boy band. And these were the books that I bought to get signed at the Ripped Bodice. This is Supplicant. Both of them are novellas, but I had to get Supplicant because I loved it so much. It's a second chance romance, and there's so much good angst. And this is Midnight Mass, which is the novella in the Priest series, and I wanted to get it because I wanted like a matching cover with the rest of my paperbacks, and I knew they wouldn't be available anymore just because this series also got picked up by a publisher. And the funny thing is that Sierra accidentally signed my copy of Midnight Mass to my friend Samantha, who went with me, so I gave her that signed copy, and Sierra was nice enough to send me her own after the signing ended, and she sent along a Saint journal to go with it. I also had a lot of credits from Book of the Month that I needed to use, so I got 3 books from them last month. Of course, I had to get the Book of the Month version of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, so now I have about 5 copies of this book. I also got The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab and These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. And then finally, for my non-romances that I saved for last, I'm actually really excited about a lot of these. This is this fancy edition of Persuasion by Jane Austen, which is one of my favorites. This is like the OG second chance romance. So it's got the entire book, the characters' letters and papers, written and folded by hand, and it was curated by Barbara Heller. Oh my gosh, so it's got a little slip case thing where they put the handwritten letter. So here's the letter. It says Miss A.E., Miss Anne Elliot. Oh my gosh, it's Wentworth's letter, handwritten and everything. It's so nice. I love how they did it. It's such a nice touch. I also got a box with a couple Vanessa Riley books. She writes historical stuff, so historical romance and historical fiction. This one is her historical romance, A Duke, the Spy, An Artist, and a Lie. And then these 2 are her historical fiction books. This one is Sister, Mother, Warrior, and this 3rd one is Murder in Westminster, so a historical thriller. I got the new J.D. Robb, who I love. This is Desperation in Death. I don't know which number in the series this is. I think we're still in the 50s. I don't think it's in the 60s just yet, but it's coming up. I've only read 7 books in the series, so I have a long way to go, but I do love this series a lot. Here is The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. The books for this series are so stunning, like all the gold on it. It's really nice. Here's the new Nicholas Sparks, which is Dreamland. I got A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I've been hearing about this one a lot lately. I mean, especially since it's spooky season, but I believe this was an indie book that got picked up by a publisher, and this hardcover just released or is about to release. It's a vampire book. It's about the first bride of Dracula. Here is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. The cover is stunning. I love it. I love the colors, and I'm a bit too excited about these cookbooks that I got from publishers just because I don't really use cookbooks, but I love looking at them. This one is the Baja California Cookbook. It's by David Castro Hassan and Jay Porter. I mean, look at these foods. I love looking at food. And this one I actually requested because I love watching the author on YouTube. It's Mi Cocina by Rick Martinez. I used to watch the Bon Appetit channel on YouTube, and I loved seeing Rick on there. And here here he is on the back with his little dog. I also do love Mexican food, so who knows, maybe I'll try some out. But that's it for this book haul of mine. This is everything I got last month in September. If you've read any of these books or any of them are on your TBR, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!